So first things first, let's go to the basics and do something like this. See? A Logon screen, right? So pretty much, I don't know if you guys seen it, during past pub forum, I showed my program called Virtual Display Manager, where pretty much, actually similar to what other people do from the security perspective, they use injection engines, right? So injection engine is used to pretty much virtualize a monitor. So if you have a laptop, you can slice it in whatever way you want. If you have multiple monitors, you can slice them as well, right? And the beauty is you can get yourself, let's say, 4K monitors, right? And imagine instead of having a wall of monitors, if you're a trader, for example, you can have just a handful and you can modify configuration depending on the use case, right? It's all great, but I had one customer that had a video wall, and my little application was designed for Windows, was somewhere in the corner. And first it was hard to find the cursor, but when they found the cursor, the application was great, right? The resolution was like more than 7,000 pixels horizontal, right? But the point is that even the user interface, right, could not adjust for the gigantic use space, right? So there were several, so then I was thinking, well, how about we do it on a cell phone, right? It's next to you, it's very easy to manipulate the size of stuff, right? Everything is great, I automated this stuff, just to find out that, so what happens if your nice big screen locked up? Right? Now you have to look for a keyboard, for a mouse, and figure out how to log back in, like we're looking at this thing right now, right? So what's interesting about it, within that bigger project, one thing was solved, pretty much. I believe this is the first interactive Windows Logon that is done remotely. Now, oops. Now we're not talking about, let's say it's easy to create a client, let's say ICA or DP, whatever, VNC client, right? To log on remotely to service, right? We do it all day long, right? Admins here probably can name like 10, 15 different clients, so they can actually do it, right? But I haven't seen anybody, and sure you can log in, let's say with a smart card, with so-called tap and go card, you can log on with a fingerprint, you have a sensor that can read your face and stuff like that, right? Those things are available, but I haven't seen, actually you know credentials, you know the username and the password. Can you log into the system without touching the keyboard? And this is exactly what this thing does, right? So I'll tell you exactly, so what the mechanics is, but let me show you, all right? So what's happening? So behind this thing, right? And I just apologize, so my laptop right now is connected to internet through my cell phone that is also being streamed right now to this screen, right? Beamed, right? So we'll see. But the point is this, so for me, right? Man. The only option to unlock the screen, right? All right, get it out of the way. Well, I don't know what it does. But you guys see the block. So, okay, the beauty is this. The beauty is this. Imagine I want to type in something there. Well, it's pretty tough, right? You can't even see, right? So what we can do here is this, right? Well, first, should I make it more impressive? Okay, let me make it more impressive. Okay, so I'm actually hooked up to my okay, so I have a virtual machine inside, so I'll show you how I manipulate Logon within the virtual machine, right? Virtual machine is a little bit limited because VMware Workstation that I'm using, the video driver is not fully implemented by VMware, so you cannot like rotate the screen. So I'll show you a few things on the real machine, but right now I'm currently controlling actually this laptop, right? Not the virtual machine inside. So what I'll do is this. First I'll show you pretty much what I have here. So, maybe it's not the one, okay, let's see. Okay, maybe it's not the one, let's see. Right, so here we go. Okay, let's see what happens. And again, remember I'm on a crazy like hotspot, whatever. Okay, let's see what's inside here. All right, so looks like that's me, I'm logged in here. Okay, let's see if we can unlock this screen. Voila! See what happened? I interactively logged in from my phone. So how does it work, right? Some people say, well, is it the Bluetooth? I recently stayed in a hotel where, like, I think it was Hilton, where they automated the, unlocking the doors. The challenge was it was a Bluetooth. It was my daughter's graduation, so family members stay in the suite next door. So when you have access to both, it's a challenge to unlock one of them, right? Because you have two Bluetooth devices that expecting, basically. So in other words, it's not a Bluetooth, right? So pretty much what this thing does, both the target machine and the phone have outbound connections, which is kind of nice, or both SSL encrypted. And pretty much you can go like, this is a netted machine going through the phone, there's another netting happens here, right? So it's all outbound. So in other words, try to get in when connections are inbound. It's pretty tough, right? So this thing is all outbound, all encrypted and so forth, okay? So what we have here, I actually logged into this machine and I can see, well, if you had a picture for that particular user, it just happened to be that evil flower, right? But if there was some other picture, you'll see actually user's picture, right? Who that person is. Now, if, let's say if it's a terminal server or a Citrix box, or it's actually a machine that has fast user switching enabled, you might see multiple sessions. So I can actually show you that, okay, we can, for example, go ahead and, for example, log off this user, right? All done remote, okay? Okay, let's go back. Now, few words since we're here about the app itself, right? So this is the configuration right now, how this monitor is sliced. So, for example, I can identify those monitors behind so you can see this thing is actually happening. And you can also see the responsiveness. So responsiveness is under 200 milliseconds even on a connection like this. If you're on the LAN, things happen like almost instantaneous as if you're pressing the keyboard at the machine. Okay? So let me do this. So here, so you have physical monitor configuration. If I had multiple monitors, I can potentially, let's say, change resolution. That's easy on one. Or I can rotate the monitor. So let's say I change to something unreasonable. Let's say 640 by 480. Asks me to confirm. Right? No hash. So something else, whatever. Another beauty thing is this. Imagine you rotate your monitor. Like on VM, you cannot demonstrate. I'll show you on physical machine. But imagine you rotated your monitor. You'll have hard time to log into that machine. You have hard time to manipulate the mouse. Well, imagine you rotated your monitor out of sync. And you have multiple monitors. It's almost next to impossible, especially when they're kind of randomly sorted. So this thing actually is, you know, quite happy you can do it. So anyway, so let me do this. Let me disconnect. So I just disconnected from. Okay, let me gracefully lock this screen up. Just one sec. So the point is this. So I'm targeting this thing with, let's say, healthcare environments where it's very important for physicians, right, to have very quick logins. So right now, what will they use? They will use tap-and-go cards, which pretty much, based on the contraption connected to the serial port, through a USB port, will send the keystrokes with the username in the password to the machine and will get unlocked. If you use a smart card, because of PKI infrastructure, things are way slower and doctors don't like it. But the challenge is that you have to buy those devices for every single machine. Now, if you walk around with your laptop, let's say if you are a physician, right? You might use your fingerprint reader. The fingerprint really is specific to that machine. Usually, it's not centralized. Now, there are some systems you can buy that, you know, can store your, do something with your fingerprints. But again, in Europe, there are challenges. You're not allowed to have a fingerprint stored somewhere else, short of the device that you control yourself. So, anyway. So let me do this, let me lock this guy, and let me show you on the physical system how this thing works. Okay, so this guy is locked. Oh, and by the way, you see the, in fact, let me show you. Oh, completely. So I'm completely out of this thing. So when device is listening, we also have notification. By the way, it works very nicely on Windows 10 as well. As you can see, there's a, let's see, if we can locate this guy. All right. So we're quiet. So what this thing will do, it will prompt me for credentials. So I'm connected, right? But at this point, I don't know who this person is, right? So it can fetch credentials if I already authenticated successfully before, right? But what will happen is that it will go in and unlock the screen, right? Based on the barcode that was on the screen. So in essence, because we're not bound to slow Bluetooth, right? You can just walk around, let's say, hospital, and logging in, logging out from the machine using your cell phone. Works with basically with iOS, works with Android, and works also with Windows Phone. And the crazy thing is it actually works with regular Windows as well, because the code that you see here, it's all HTML5. I actually do have, I can show you, basically HTML5 client actually works on Windows machine as well. Exactly the same client as you see here. Okay? So in other words, if for whatever reason you don't want to be connected, you just want to manipulate the screens, the same interface works for screen manipulation. If you need to manipulate it remotely, obviously you have to have some separate device, but technically you can do it on Windows as well. Okay? So, let me do this, go back, hold this thing up. And what I'll do right now, I'll disconnect from here, and let's see if it works out. So what I'll do right now, I will connect you. You will not be able to see anymore the projection of this guy on the screen because I'm connecting to the physical machine. Let's see. Yeah, don't worry about it. The password, right? So it's let's find out. Yeah, this process, by the way, is as fast as thumb punching on the keyboard, so the connection was a little bit faster. I think it still interrogates the domain, but anyway. So what we have right now, let me get my little contraption with the reflector going so you will see actually what's happening with the machine itself. So here's the reflector with toast. After this logo. Okay. Yes. The reflector wasn't very happy that I killed it so abruptly with the logo. Oh, okay. So. How about this? I'll show you in a different fashion. So, all right, so what I have here, I have actually multiple monitors, unlike the previous machine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can rotate the small one. Let me confirm. Yeah, so I have no idea what the projector is going to do, but let's find out. Wow! As you can see, and this is how I'm going to do it for the next presenter. Let's see if they can figure out how to turn it back.
No, 90 degrees to the right again.
Yeah, I'm trying, yeah. I think this is it. Yeah, because, yeah, connection is pretty shady between those two places, right? So, but anyway, so you can see kind of. Okay, let's identify this guy. All right. It's not
put the projector on.
I was right. I was right. Everything was working. Actually, I was rotating the wrong screen. Right. I was rotating so my laptop.
And to get it back, you need another application.
So we'll leave it. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that.
And to revert back, you need to buy another application from this, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ransomware.
And just to make it more interesting, we'll lock it. At some point, it will lock. I think.
Please. Oh, and now can you log in using the reverted QR code?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so the QR code can be read at any angle actually. Yeah, it's upside down as well. So I don't know if it can do the mirror, but so okay. Now just to illustrate that it's actually possible. So here we go. Again, you don't see how it works, but let's find out here. Right?
Very good.
So it will prompt me right now for username. I'm clicking to sign in. And here we go. Woohoo! So anyway, so the bottom line is this. So technology actually works quite well. So when we talk about IoT, usually people will have some light bulb. Let's say when they have a tweet coming in, light bulb going off, or
Flames.
they play with a garage door, right? Why not play with a computer? Now, if you're sitting in front of a computer and the computer has a fingerprint reader, maybe, I don't know, too much, but when you have like a video wall, or let's say imagine you left and you didn't lock your computer and you don't have computer policy that locks your computer. I can lock my computer in my office in the United States like right now, or unlock it for the time. By the way, interesting side effect, if you use anybody uses Synthesco?
Yeah.
So with this thing, you can actually unlock the second monitor. Let's say you're running a session, right? You can unlock actually the console monitor. That user actually has no visibility. So the admin can be actually doing the work within your session while you have no idea that things are happening. So, anyway, what?
How secure is it?
What do you think?
And what happened with the screen?
It's not feature. And what's wrong?
Yeah.
Everything is okay with the screen?
Okay, actually, a good point about security, right?
Ransomware.
So right now, the service behind this thing runs in Azure, right? And I was stingy not to pay for my own certificate, so Microsoft has access to private keys, right? So I'm sending my personal passwords across the wire to Microsoft, right?
What's
They can
Microsoft?
potentially intercept.
Intercept.
Yeah, so the beauty is this. So this application also passes the public key to you when you're supposed to send the password.
Fell asleep.
And the own application itself cannot encrypt it, right? So basically, whoever possesses the private key will be able to do it. And technically, you can actually input, yeah, you can, whatever. I don't know, Alex, this is your department now. So you can,
Why?
I've got to run because my flight leaves.
okay, but
Good to see you.
anyway, so the couple interesting things that can come out of it. So Logon is one thing. Manipulating the monitor is actually very convenient, right? Especially if you have more than one monitor, right? Another thing is I can move right now applications, let's say, from this virtual monitor to this virtual, let's say, I have a bunch of, let's say, things maximized here and there. I can actually move things between the monitors. Instead of unmaximizing the window, move it somewhere else, and maximizing it. So you can kind of shuffle this and that. It also has the ability to switch you to another desktop. You know, Windows have multiple desktops, right? You have secure desktop, screensaver, and the default desktop. So with Windows, well, Windows 10 has kind of a hybrid, desktops, but potentially you can actually have a completely separate desktop where the message, basically, stream cannot reach another desktop. So your apps will be kind of isolated, at least message-wise. So it's very easy to switch with this thing, because otherwise you lock yourself there, and let's say a single app that's running there, and let's say you have no UI to get out of there, you won't be able to get out of that screen unless you reboot the machine. And so this is kind of a handy thing. So let me see if I can get Alex's thing back. Okay.
Sure, yes.
All right, looks like that's the one. Okay. I just let you know my screen here is rotating too.
I know why.
So I'm a testament that it's not easy to deal with a rotated monitor, right? So, okay, so here's the
Yeah.
It's okay, just leave it.
Console.
just to make it kind of more interesting. You're right.
Control Alt and the arrow. Control.
No, what I need to do, I need to just pause this little thing. And Yeah, so what happened is that the app, not an excuse, right? So the app that was projecting the phone, right, that crashed. And I'm looking at part of the screen right now, so. So anyway, while this thing is doing something like that. So an interesting aspect of something like this is, you know, people talk about profiles, right? The Logon times, this and that. So imagine you get the best Logon time possible, but you just don't load the apps, right? That's quite often what happens, right? You compromise on the speed and all of a sudden you don't have actually the environment to use, right? Let's say Office is not installed, something else is not installed. So since you have pretty much backdoor in the environment, right, you can potentially populate your profile with stuff on demand. Say, if you want to use the Office, you can push some packages, right? It's interactive with your profile on this thing. So. I guess maybe the project itself, right? Has nothing to do with the rotation, right?
Progress.
Yeah.
Do you need duct tape?
Yeah. So the crazy thing is this, so if you try to scan the screen and if you have a flicker, this is very old computer, right? So imagine you're filming some sports event, right? And you have a screen that you can see the scan lines going. So when you have a barcode and your screen refresh is low, you actually continue with the refresh speed. So look at the screen. Unless this thing doesn't work upside down. that's absolutely a possibility, right? Yeah. How about this? Let's fool the system. No, it's a you know, the scanning frequencies problem. I'm also going to cover like a piece of the stuff printed on a piece of paper. The only challenge is dynamic. So the barcode actually is generated dynamically, so that you know these enable the possibility of collision. Okay. Business, at least I'm in business, so just scan all. Alright, so that's about it.
Could you summarize what are the use cases for this? So,
All right, so I think the most interesting use case is environment where people need to log on to a bunch of computers, right, and possibly with different credentials, right? Let's say if you're a physician, right, and at least in the United States, physicians do not necessarily work with one hospital. They might actually contract with different organizations that have completely different environments. So they will have to remember their primary username and password. And besides that, they probably need to remember another 20 usernames and password combinations.
so it's like password manager.
For the apps. Well, okay, the beauty of password manager is it deals with a single sign-on with SSO, right? What this thing does, it allows you to get in first, and then you can use password manager, Improvada, whatever, the SAML authentication, right? The question is first, well, how do you get in? And usually the solution for that is those tap-and-go cards. So it's a card, there's a card reader, there's also a special writer for the cards. If you put that card in your pants and you sit down, they sometimes stop working, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not very secure, right? So in essence, what happens when the code is read from the card, so they do have encryption or whatever, but at the end, pretty much keystrokes are sent to the screen. This is not a secure approach, right? So what the system that I showed you does is this. So it does not circumvent Gina. So I've seen some applications that try to do that, but they all broken right away. The first one that Microsoft shifted from Gina to security providers, right? So it does not circumvent Microsoft in any way, right? So what it pretty much does, regular Windows Logon as long as you know username and password. And the trick here is to be able to deliver to the machine and actually be able to do this unlock process, which turned out to be a little bit tricky, right? But once it's done and you have reasonably fast connection, this thing pretty much as fast or faster than you'll be typing it yourself, right? And then, so the idea here is, let's say, all right, you work for multiple hospitals, here's your phone, you can potentially decide that you want to remember your credentials because let's say you protect them with your fingerprint, right? So then you go to a machine that belongs to that hospital, and you can pretty much zap it with this thing, and you're in, right? And then if somebody else wants to get in, and you've probably seen situations where somebody logs the screen and walks away, and it requires an admin to actually to be able to get in. And sometimes admins don't even know how to do it, short of rebooting the machine. So here you'll be able to actually suspend person in the background and work. And in fact, it will work even if fast user switching is disabled. So in fact, it does look like fast user switching, but in reality is you can technically disable fast user switching, you still will be able to do that. Okay, so in other words, hospital environment is the best scenario. Now, another possibility is, believe it or not, some of the people that use these multiple displays, right, gamers, so they actually You need a lot of real estate to play, like in this immersive environment. And for them, it's really hard to manage those things with a mouse looking for a system tray. So I think from perspective of monitor management capability, it's a good fit. And then the Logon is required because if your screen is locked, like we see right now, so once this thing is polished, it's very easy to unlock it and get yourself out of the bind of the screen rotation or whatever, right? And another option, if let's say I have a bunch of people like traders that use the software just for monitors themselves. For them, just imagine you have nicely orchestrated environment, right? You have like, I don't know, you have probably, let's say 3x4, 3x3 grid of monitors. It's like 9, 12 monitors. Sure, you can, again, look for the system tray, right? But any...
Yes, unfortunately, Microsoft does not offer Tile Manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, so something like that. But I think if we put virtual displays aside, because that's a separate use case, just to have a gadget on the phone, and again, it's compatible pretty much across the board with all, short of having a Logon Key phone, this thing will work on the phone, right? It's actually quite handy for rapid Logon. And security-wise, obviously, it's always a touchy subject, right? You think that everything is bulletproof, right? Like following best practices kind of is important, but again, never guarantees. So since the code is fairly small, right, the amount of data we're passing across the wire and algorithms involved are fairly small, I think it can be made very secure, like within reason. And since there's no functionality built into the phone to run malicious data, right? So you'll be able to execute only the tasks that are programmed into the device. Okay. So and all connections are outbound, right, which is kind of nice. So consider you have Azure-driven Node.js backend running this thing, and all connections, both the target and the device, right, the phones, they're all coming outbound. You can pass through multiple firewalls, and short of organization does not allow, let's say, to sell traffic out. It's compatible with many environments. So.